Wake up, Neo. What, Neo?
Imagine this. You wake up one morning, check your phone, scroll past 10 different opinions about the universe, and somehow not a single one explains what it actually is. Not really. We talk about it like we understand it. We say things like, it's made of atoms. It's expanding. It started with the Big Bang. Very confident, very scientific, very incomplete. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. We don't actually know what the universe is made of. Not fully, not even close. And the part that we do understand, it's basically the universe's version of a trailer. The full movie, still not released. Or maybe we're watching it backwards. Or upside down. Or we're the movie. Relax, it's going to get weird. Let's start with something simple. Everything around you, your phone, your body, your coffee, your questionable life decisions, is made of atoms. Atoms are made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So far, so good. Feels solid. Feels real. Feels like we've got this under control. Except we don't. Because when scientists looked closer, they realized protons and neutrons are made of quarks. And quarks, they behave like particles and waves at the same time, which is basically physics saying, we don't know what this is, but it works, so let's move on. Now here's where it gets better. Everything you see, literally everything, makes up only about 5% of the universe. 5%. Which means 95% of reality is something we don't understand. Imagine ordering a pizza, opening the box and finding only one slice. And then someone tells you the rest is invisible. But trust us, it's there. That's modern cosmology. Now let's meet the two mysterious roommates of the universe. Dark matter and dark energy. Dark matter. We can't see it. We can't touch it. We don't know what it is. But it has mass. And it holds galaxies together. Without it, everything would just drift apart. So basically, dark matter is like that one friend who does all the work but never shows up in photos. Dark energy? Even better. It's something that is causing the universe to expand faster and faster. No one knows what it is. No one invited it. But it's here, and it's winning. So to summarize, we understand 5%. The other 95% is invisible, unknown, and casually controlling everything. Great. Very reassuring. Now here's where it gets slightly disturbing. What if the universe is not made of stuff at all? What if it's made of information? Think about it. At the deepest level, reality behaves like code. Particles appear and disappear. Everything is probabilistic. Nothing is truly solid. It's more like a system calculating itself, which leads to a very fun question. What if reality is not physical? What if it's processed? Now, I'm not saying we're in a simulation. I'm just saying, if we were, this is exactly what it would look like. Let's not panic. Yet. Now let's talk about space. You know, the empty part. Except it's not empty. Even in a perfect vacuum, particles appear and disappear randomly. For no reason. No warning, just, hey, I exist. Now, okay, I'm gone. This is called quantum fluctuation, which is a very professional way of saying reality is a little unstable. And here's the best part. This randomness might be what created the entire universe. So everything you are might exist because nothing decided to do something. Let that sit for a second. Now let's go deeper. Time. You experience time as something moving forward. Always forward, never backward, like a one-way street. But physics? Not so sure. Some equations work perfectly fine if time goes backward, which means, theoretically, somewhere, something could be experiencing everything in reverse, including this moment. So somewhere out there, a version of you just finished watching this video and is slowly unwatching it. You're welcome. Now here's where it gets personal. You think you're made of matter, solid, physical, real. But in reality, atoms are mostly empty space. If you removed the empty space from your body, you would be smaller than a grain of sand, still with the same mass. Which means you're not really solid. You're more like a very organized illusion. Congratulations, you are a well-structured emptiness. Now let's go darker for a second. What if the universe doesn't need to make sense? What if it's not designed to be understood? What if your brain, the thing trying to understand reality, is simply not built for it? Like trying to explain the internet to a goldfish. The goldfish is trying its best. But at some point, it's just bubbles and confusion. And we might be the goldfish, just with better lighting. Now let's make it even worse, or better. Depends on your mood. What if the universe is not something you observe, but something that requires you to exist? In quantum physics, observation changes reality. Particles behave differently when observed, which leads to a very uncomfortable idea. What if reality doesn't fully exist until it's experienced? Which means the universe might not just be out there. It might need you, or something like you, which is either very empowering or slightly terrifying. Now let's take a breath, because yes, this is a lot. We started with atoms. We ended with existential uncertainty. That escalated quickly. But here's the thing. Even though we don't understand most of the universe, we understand enough to know that it's vast, strange, and deeply interconnected. And that matters, because understanding is not just about having answers. It's about asking better questions. Ancient humans looked at the sky and wondered, what is that? Modern humans look at the sky and wonder, what is that made of? Future humans, they might ask, why does it exist at all? And maybe one day we'll get closer, or maybe we won't. Maybe the universe is not a puzzle to solve. Maybe it's an experience to have. A mystery that keeps unfolding, a system so complex that every answer creates 10 new questions. And maybe that's the point. Because if we knew everything, there would be nothing left to explore. No curiosity, no wonder, no reason to look up. And despite all the uncertainty, there's something strangely beautiful about that. The fact that we don't know. The fact that we're still searching. The fact that right now, in this moment, you exist in a universe that is 95% unknown, 100% real, and infinitely interesting. And somehow, you're aware of it, which might be the strangest thing of all. So next time you look at the night sky, remember, you're not just looking at the universe, you're part of the question, and maybe part of the answer. Or maybe just a very curious observer in a system that doesn't explain itself easily. Either way, you're here. And that's already incredible. Because out of all the particles, all the randomness, all the chaos, something came together and started asking questions. And that something is you. So don't worry if you don't understand the universe. No one does. Not completely, not yet, and maybe never. But that's not a flaw. That's the invitation to explore, to question, to laugh at how absurd it all is, and occasionally to just sit there and think, wow, this is weird, because it is, beautifully, endlessly weird. And this is just the beginning, because if you think this was strange, you haven't seen anything yet. There are ideas, theories, and possibilities out there that are so much more insane, so much more fascinating, and so much more mind-bending that this was just the warm-up. So stay curious, stay slightly confused, and get ready. Because in the next videos, we're going even deeper, and trust me, it only gets weirder from here.